no filter in sight. Jason's got the insights, always gets it right. Sean's the wild card with a laugh in the night. On FolkLOOR, they banter about the latest fight. FolkLOOR podcast, stories non-stop. Entertainment gossip, and tech's new crop. Loud opinions, like a punk rock bop. Marcus, Jason, Sean, they never drop.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the FolkLOOR podcast. I'm Marcus Pittman and I'm joined by Jason Singlet of Significance Farley. Did I say that right?
Yeah. That's what the pro wrestlers wear. That's singlet. That's what it's called.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah. Is that on the belt they win?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just the wrestling uniform is called.
The uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
yours didn't ship in time, right? That's why you're not wearing it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. By next week, I'll have it.
Okay.
Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of the FolkLOOR podcast. I am Marcus. I'm really glad that you guys have joined us. We have a lot, just real quick, we have a lot of exciting lore news coming up in this show. One, really great excitement around Billy Jack's show, the Charlie and Evie translation. And just I don't know, have we talked about the pro-life Spider-Man really on this show yet? We haven't talked about that yet. Sean, any other exciting stuff coming? Well, we got some stuff coming to lore we're not going to talk about yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, no, we can, I feel like we can pull back the curtain a little bit.
Okay, yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do that later on, talk about some of the exciting stuff that's coming to lore.tv and show you some stuff. But before we do that, I know we've talked about South Park on this podcast a lot. But there's some big news with South Park, and that is that the rights, this is crazy to even think about nowadays, but the rights to South Park are going up on the market, potentially. And I'll just quick backstory on why this is because Matt Stone and Trey Parker, long before streaming was a thing, they foresaw it coming, and they may put in their contract that they have in perpetuity streaming rights. They own the streaming rights to South Park. And so this has created a lot of tensions because they've gone and done separate deals, one for Paramount, one for HBO. We've talked about that. But Skydance just bought Paramount. And in the contract, if there's an acquisition of a company of Paramount, they get to shop around the rights. So it's rumored that Skydance doesn't want to pay because they're trying to save money because Paramount's losing a lot of money. So they don't want to pay the estimated $200 million for the streaming rights of new episodes of South Park. So this means a major property is literally being shopped around, and the creators are going to reap all the rewards of this for sure. And Paramount, who built and funded the first 20 years of South Park, is actually going to lose that property, which never happens. And I think it's pretty significant because, Paramount can only put the episodes on Comedy Central cable television, and nobody really watches that anymore. No one hardly ever tunes into Comedy Central to watch episodes of South Park. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Like, it's pretty massive, I think.
It is weird to watch the whole landscape of how people consume television, just to watch it shift and change. And there were some people that saw that the change was coming, and some people that tried to deny it. And like, this is evidence that there's like just the way people go and get their television has changed so much, that these old properties are the ones. The Simpsons has been going a lot longer than South Park, but there's not much else that's been going a lot longer than South Park. So you've got these the changes happening, and these old properties with lawyers 20 years ago that didn't foresee the changing landscape are probably all kicking themselves now.
Right. I'm pretty sure all streaming contracts now basically say whatever medium now and forever into the future in the whole of the universe, I think is the way it's worded. Right. So, people are literally starting to put streaming rights protections for Mars in their contracts. But I think
back in the day, you worked on some of those contracts, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to remember the language. It's like, and all technologies now or in the future invented. It was like this total blanket, and
on Earth and then throughout the universe.
Yeah. But all the contracts cover that. But when you've got the kind of clout and cachet that those guys have, there was probably a renewal 10 or 15 years ago when streaming was on the radar, and they knew better not to sell their souls to that. So those guys are super savvy. And I was just thinking, like, what's worth more, Taylor Steele. I'm thinking of a surf maker, Taylor Swift, or South Park. I'm gonna say South Park by exponential 10. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's about to be shown how valuable it is, because I'd be surprised if there's not some sort of bidding war.
Yeah, so this is the article right here from the LA Times talking about it 5 days ago. And there's just like this, it's just this weird all at once convergence of all these different things coming into play that make this sort of thing possible. It's really incredible. But in terms of like talking about the value of streaming rights, I read another article this week about Friends, and Friends, the actors actually were able to negotiate streaming rights deals before the show ended. So like it ended kind of like their contract kind of got up for renewal right about the time streaming was kind of potentially a possibility. So they were able to get royalties. And so each Friends actor or actress gets $20 million a year just from the value, because I think it's worth $1 billion, the streaming rights to Friends right now, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, that's a new world, for sure. And things are changing, but also, we don't see, well, actually, before we get into that, I'm hearing some music.
Oh,
are you hearing it?
Hold on. I didn't. It must be the. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's time for Jason's Trivia Lesson.
Lost my window there. All right, chat. Now's your time. I feel like the chat. Now's the time to answer Jason's trivia question right. All right, go ahead.
All right. I think somebody's going to get this one, because it's something we all know. That's okay. So
it's a throwaway. This
is a throwaway. So before there was Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Pokemon, huge Japanese television shows, there was the mega hit Voltron, which in Japanese we all know was called Beast King Go Lion, obviously. But so that was a mega hit Japanese cartoon. But before the mega hit Voltron, there was a very popular cartoon that hit American television in 1967. That was the first Japanese cartoon to become a national phenomenon, and it was a cartoon called Speed Racer that I think everybody's heard of. But 5 years before Speed Racer, NBC licensed the very first Japanese cartoon for American television. So the question is, what was that cartoon?
We got there.
Japanese cartoon licensed for American television 5 years before Speed Racer by NBC.
I feel like if Cinement's watching, I don't know if he's watching, but if he was, he would know the answer to this.
I think he would know the answer.
Yeah, the creator of FolkLOOR, he would definitely be able to know the answer to this. And
if
I'm
Tim,
no anime specialist, but I want to take a crack at it.
all right, take a crack. I'm ready.
Okay, it's multiple choice. I've written. Hold on, I'm gonna add C because I came up with a C. It had A and B. Now I got C. Okay, here's what I think they are. It was either 1967, right?
1962.
Two. Oh,
guys, I made a huge blunder. I actually have to hit live on Instagram in a separate tab. So now we're live on Instagram. Jason, do you want to repeat the question?
yeah.
Okay.
Jason, repeat the trivia lesson question.
Repeat the trivia lesson.
Plus,
Do
I
it
need to still
for the
take notes.
crowd.
Okay, this. I'll shorten it up a little bit. So,
Doubt.
before Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and Pokemon, which are huge Japanese cartoons, Voltron was a mega hit, which inspired everyone to go looking for Japanese cartoons. Well, before Voltron,
Literally
though,
everybody.
everyone. Yeah, everyone.
Whole world.
Before Voltron, though, there was a national phenomenon called Speed Racer, which was a Japanese cartoon. It started on a single television channel in out east, and then it slowly spread and then became a national phenomenon. But 5 years before Speed Racer, the very first Japanese cartoon was licensed for American television by NBC, 1962. The question is, what was that cartoon that NBC licensed for American television off of Japanese television?
You're digging deep. Okay. Here are my guesses on this. Here are my guesses. So it's multiple choice, or it's one of these. It is. Was it Godzilla's tiny cousin Carl? Is that no?
No, it's not that.
No?
But I would watch that show.
I would too. Okay. I think it got buried in syndication somewhere and never. Okay. Well, what about, was it Origami Warriors Fold of Destiny?
No, but I don't know why there hasn't been an origami superhero yet. Because
No,
like
100%. And I'd venture to guess that most people are starving for that.
yeah.
What would the origami superhero, would he be good at origami, or would he fold up like origami?
He folds up like origami, like Transformer, but he's like, activate dragon on unicorn, and then he's like,
isn't that just the wife on Incredibles? I mean, I feel like stretching and folding are like, that's the basics. I mean, in animation at least,
yeah,
stretching and folding is the same thing, right? So
yeah, but origami is its own thing, and I think it's a great idea. There's my final guess, and this is probably it. Did you guys ever watch when you were kids, or actually before you were even born, since it was 1962? Shogun Sheldon and the Tea Ceremony of Doom.
No, that
was
would
it.
miss me.
Do you want me to? Did you double check that?
I'll check again. Nope, that's not it.
Oh, I'm gonna win one of these singlet of significance, Farley.
You are going to.
Foiled
Chris
again.
says, I'm late. What's the question? The question is, what was the first Japanese cartoon licensed for American television?
Wow. Oh, you can get right.
You can get right
to the point.
You didn't even. You landed the plane so quickly on that one.
I know. It's almost disappointing. I don't want you to ever do that again.
Yeah,
I won't. I promise not to do that.
We won't have a show. If you do that again, we won't have a show.
Yeah, that's almost like Urkel becoming Urkel. It's like, oh, what are you doing? It's just like that. That's so out of character. It's almost jumping the shark.
Almost.
Oh my goodness!
But Urkel can't play basketball like Steve.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Wow. Well, does anyone
You know, it's
getting
great. You know, I know it's off topic, but that was like one of the only times I think a series jumped the shark and retained. Like that's the stuff people remember from the
Yeah,
show the
people
most.
remember. Yeah,
Like that was like the highlight,
mach-
the peak of Family
the-
Matters
the
was when
machine that was in the living room
it,
randomly
it
that
was
turned Steve
it
Urkel
was a
into
portable
Urkel.
toilet, wasn't it? It was a toilet stall turned into a machine that changed. Anyway, that was
What a
what a
show.
phenomenal show. I know. This is so good. Did you ever watch Family Matters, Sean?
I didn't watch Family Matters.
Oh
No.
man, Sean has no idea what we're
I
talking
watched
about.
Family Ties and Family Guy and Family Feud. That's all the family I could handle.
Okay.
Well, imagine those three shows put together.
Yeah.
And
Is this a pitch?
yeah.
I love pitches. They're so
Yeah.
good.
Me too.
We had a pitch the other day, and I think the pitch started at sunrise and it ended like as the sun was setting. It was a long pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a festival of pitch.
You got to land when you're given a pitch. This is for all you people out there wanting to pitch us a show. You got to land the plane. And when I say that is you got to get it out in like 2 minutes or less.
Man, when I was pitching regularly, I used to practice with a timer, and I gave myself 4 minutes. That was I couldn't go over 4 minutes with my pitch.
I do that with dinner. If it takes me longer than 4 minutes, I'm just wasting time.
It's one of those chess timers.
Yeah, just got to get this food in and get going. Oh my goodness. Well, I was going to try to find a really clever segue, but I just can't. Jason, do you have a clever segue?
I do. I drive it all up and down the street, and I do all sorts of tricks on it. I don't even wear a helmet. That's how clever my segue is.
Is it bad? First of all, I wanted to ask you all, because I live in California, which you all know is the largest open air asylum on the planet. But there's this thing in California, and I don't know if you have it where you live, but there's always a guy riding around on that Una thing.
Yep.
That's the one, right? With the two wheels, but this is the thing. Whether I'm in Santa Monica, Santa Cruz, or Belmont Shores, there's always a guy on that, and strangely, he's dressed up like a Boba Fett. Like he's got all this weird protective gear, but it's like kind of like body armor, and it's the strangest thing. And I don't know why. Where is that coming from? Is that coming from a cartoon or something?
I don't know. There's a guy that rides one around my house, and he just dresses like a cowboy. So I don't know.
Yep. Okay, I think you just live in more normal places.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but these guys are dressed up. They're like full body armor, and it's always all black. It's not like day glow, or it's just full black.
Maybe they're trying to form a gang.
They look a little like Antifa, actually. It could be like an Antifa Segway gang, or game.
Well, Sean, since we're going to talk about masculinity, I wanted to present some of the shows that we have. We have Behind the Beards and Bikes. We showed that clip last week, but one of the shows on FolkLOOR TV that we haven't really talked about much, and I think we should, is Esoterra.
Yeah, you guys break down. So Esoterra stands out. It's so different than.
Well, let's show the trailer first.
You had a trailer?
Yeah, I have the trailer lined up, and then let's. I produce and perform all at the same time, guys. It's incredible skill.
He's like a DJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to play this trailer because we haven't. Awesome. Okay.
requires you to hunt bounties.
Get yourself some supplies.
Look, I got nothing.
Your AI?
What's that got to do with it?
Take that and Roach and bring him back, okay?
Fine.
What is a life worth? 735 credits.
It's like the feel.
Hi, I'm Nicola Revere.
Yeah. There's and that's Nick,
and that's Nick.
who's the creator of the show.
So
Brilliant.
you guys tell me, give us the why you guys get excited about this series.
Well, it does what sci-fi does really well. So it's near future sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, and then it wrestles with the philosophical questions of what's left if we invest our humanity into technology, and then the technology is stripped away. What's left? What's left of our humanity? And just explores those sorts of questions. That's what I love. That's what sci-fi does well, especially apocalyptic sci-fi. And so you've got,
it's the opposite of Black Mirror, right? Because Black Mirror is like, what if technology is just uncontrollable?
right? It's the same
no
kind
restraint.
of questions, like how do we retain our humanity while interacting with all these new technological things? Same kinds of questions, and it's just, but then Nick is a great cinematographer. He's a really creative filmmaker, and really good storyteller. And so I love what he's doing, and just the way he approaches storytelling, a very visual.
Not just a cinematographer and filmmaker. A lot of people are that. He's also a maker, right? Like that's one of the key distinctions I think that only exists in sci-fi, especially if you look at like Star Wars, right? In the beginning of ILM, and they're just out there with like ping pong tables making this Death Star shot in the parking lot. And it's all the props are handmade and that sort of thing. Like that is what I get from Nick and Esoterra. Like that's why they're able to make this show that feels like a big budget sci-fi, but it's really just a team of guys that are just, like that just love sci-fi, right? So, and they're doing what they can, and it feels authentic. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It's very well acted, and it's very masculine and adult, which I think is really great. It's really a great show, and I think we need more shows that do this. One of the things that Nick described to me that I thought was really interesting was he was like he wanted to create a world like Twilight Zone, a show like the Twilight Zone. He said, but the problem with the Twilight Zone is that every episode the world is completely different. So the idea in the long run is to create a series where every episode is different, but the world remains the same. So the moral questions and the problems and stuff that every episode deals with exist in this same universe where that doesn't change from episode to episode. I think that's really fascinating because even like Black Mirror, like each episode is completely disconnected from the next, and the world is completely different, and the rules of that world are completely different. And so there's a lot of world building that has to take place with each episode. But if you get rid of that and you say, nope, it's the same world, that opens up a lot of really unique opportunities. I think that I'm super excited about with that show.
What if for a guy like that, if he were to just without Lore TV, he would have a tough time probably making that, pitching it. He couldn't. You could try to take it to Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all the rest. But what's so cool about it is he could take something like that's got a reasonable budget. It's non-union. He doesn't have all the huge overhead, and he can actually make that happen with the funding model. That's the part that's just so cool to me. Like What was the original kind of, how did he pitch it, or how did you guys find him? How did you pitch it, or how did he pitch it?
It feels like I've known him a long time. I can't remember how we met, but he pitched it as, hey, I want to eventually make a movie in this world. And but I need to get props made. I need to get different things. I need to practice some different kinds of scenes. And I want to make shorts that prepare me to make a movie by building the props for different shorts that I'll need for the movie, getting everything that I need together by making shorts. And then I want to make the movie. And just the kind of hustle and the way he was thinking long term really intrigued me. And so I said, let me see what you've been working on. And he had made one short, and he had made it on film just because he wanted to do something on film. And
like what, Super 16 or 35 or?
I think it was 35. I think he'd made the whole thing, but I can't remember. And
That's crazy.
And I just thought, this is the kind of guy that's perfect for what we're trying to do, because he can build an audience while he builds his skills and builds up. He's thinking in such a way that he'll have what he needs for a larger version, a larger story told in the world by the end of making his series of shorts.
And he's got, so you can watch his stuff right now on FolkLOOR.tv as a subscriber.
Yep.
And he's got more in the pipeline, right?
He does, yeah. So the next episode is funding right now.
Awesome. Well, let's get everyone funding. If you guys like what you saw, get on FolkLOOR.tv. Find just go under the fund tab, and you find episode 2. Yeah, Esoteric, episode 2. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's also a great commercial director. I mean, he's just super talented. But I have to say, you are not going to save money shooting in 35. But I like your spirit.
He doesn't do that anymore. He just wanted to try it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. No, it looks great. I mean, it's incredible to see that kind of quality on the screen. For somebody who's just a lean, mean production company. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I have, I don't know if you guys know, but the price of stamps are going up. So more and more people are emailing their mail to us.
That's disappointing.
But I did get one letter, coincidentally, in origami.
Okay.
Because all the kids love this.
Origami of what?
Doom.
We're going to get 1 million views on YouTube with that ASMR for sure. No question about it.
Okay, this is from Rhonda. That's it's a tough name. There's some names that people have that are unfortunate, and I'm sorry, Rhonda.
Is that a Beach Boys song?
Yeah, it is a Beach Boys.
It is a Beach Boys song, yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting. What a synchronicity there. Let's take a moment for Brian. Okay. Wilson, that is. This is Rhonda in Milwaukee. And Rhonda, it looks like she listened to our show last week about Disney. Subject: if Disney owns everything, do they own my childhood too? Rhonda writes, hey team, just wondering if AI learned from Disney movies and I learned everything I know about romance from The Little Mermaid. Does that mean I've been infringing since 1992? Please advise. Also, Eric never called me back. I have no idea what that means. Do you guys know an Eric?
No.
Prince Eric, probably.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah.
This is why I got to run everything by you, Jason, because there's these clever references that I have no idea what they're. Do you guys have any response to Rhonda in Milwaukee?
If she has been talking as part of getting to know people, then she's been doing it wrong. So she first has to have her voice stolen by a sea witch if she's going to get romance right.
Yeah. But I mean, is she technically infringing since she's been taking advice from Little Mermaid?
As long as she has been talking, she hasn't been infringing.
Okay.
That's at least that's my legal take.
Yeah. Because it's an existential question. Like, if you're just being inspired by things, are you technically scraping from the world? And do you owe Disney money? I don't know. There's an email we got from Carl in Bakersfield. Oh, Bakersfield. It's a city where dreams are made. If you're ever just cruising up the 99, just swing by Bakersfield and then get your In-N-Out burger and keep moving.
It depends on your dreams, whether or not
It depends on your dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of oil in Bakersfield. It says, subject is, can AI sue back? Hey guys, if Disney sues AI companies, can the AIs countersue for emotional distress from having to process Cars 2? That's a good question. That movie did something for me, man. The trauma is coded into the algorithm of my life now. I didn't see Cars 2. What do you think?
Cars 2 wasn't as bad as Planes. That was pretty bad.
Planes.
Yeah,
I never saw Planes. So
Nobody did.
That's really a movie?
It really was a movie. Yeah, in the world.
I don't know about
from the world of Cars. It was straight to VHS.
Straight to VHS. That was a good thing back in the day because you at least made some money off of VHS.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't make streaming, you're straight to a hard drive in Larry's closet somewhere.
Larry's underground bunker.
Larry's underground bunker. That's all the letters we have. I just want to encourage people to please write more and try to get them in as quick as you can before these stamps go up. That's all I can say.
Again.
Yeah.
It's a hard knock life we're living.
We were touching on something earlier. This is something I want to talk about. Do you realize that? So do you remember Spike TV?
Yeah.
And then you had like the Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel back before Jimmy was still.
Wasn't it TNT before Spike TV?
No. It was something else, and I forget. That's a good trivia lesson for next week. I'll let everyone guess it because it's an easy lookup. But it wasn't TNT, I don't think, because TNT stayed while Spike was around. I forget what it was, but it went away. It was a cool channel. And then you had the Man Show, and then you had Fuel TV was a male-centric channel. But I think all this fear about toxic masculinity got to all of our cable execs' heads, and they just obliterated. It's amazing. Like any channel that was male-centric just disappeared. And this isn't like a manosphere podcast, but I do want to say that I think FolkLOOR should fill that gap a little bit. What do you think? What say you, Marcus and Jason?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think one of the networks that comes to mind that was like extremely male focused. Most of them actually were, when you look at the history, other than, your occasional like Lifetime. That's what made Lifetime significant, because it was filling a hole in the market, which was there wasn't a lot of female oriented television, because you had MTV, you had Comedy Central, you had Spike TV, then you had one that comes to mind is G4 TV.
Yeah, G4
was tremendous. I mean, that story. There's a documentary on it on YouTube that me and Jason, we watched that, right? Like it was basically talking about how you just had this ragtag group of people who were making this network, and like most people don't know this, and this is probably a good trivia question too, but I want to spoil it now. Like without G4 TV, you wouldn't have had the Comic-Cons and the Marvel movies and all these sort of things, because it was G4 TV that decided, hey, we're going to go and stream live from Comic-Con. And nobody knew what Comic-Con was at the time. Like it was like this weird thing. And then they had hundreds and hundreds of people like watching this live event at Comic-Con. Like the G4 TV was the main event. And, everyone at Comic-Con's like, who is G4 TV? Like all the leadership at Comic-Con. And then, you realize that, this gaming culture and comic book culture are the same audience. And from there, that made Comic-Con, spawn in every state. There's, a different version of Comic-Con and all this sort of stuff. But where it really was just a show for guys who liked video games and technology. It was a channel for that. And from there, basically, I feel like the whole modern pop culture world that we have kind of stems to that channel. That was right. And so you have, I think MTV and G4 TV were probably like in the top 2 of like influential television channels, I think.
I beg to differ because I'm not biased or anything, but I think that was Fuel TV.
Yeah.
I just want to correct you.
Oh yeah, Fuel TV. Fuel TV. Well, tell me about Fuel TV. How did that get started?
Yeah, well, that Fuel TV started in 2003, and our whole demo was 12 to 24 male. And like G4, we picked a niche. So G4 was gaming, and we picked action sports. So surf, skate, snowboard, motocross, BMX, wakeboard, and then music. And that really worked for us. And we didn't ever really pivot away from that until about 10 years later. I think G4 had to pivot away from it pretty quick. They realized it was just too niche. And I think they did a calculated risk where they said, well, like when these channels get developed, they usually are built out of business development within a cable group. Like, so at the time it would have been not Comcast, but Viacom at the time. And they'll look at, oh, there's X many gamers, and gaming brings in this billions of dollars. So clearly we need a network, but that didn't always translate. And probably one of the only networks, if you think about like Weather Channel, Travel Channel, I mean, they start off with weather and travel, but then they just sort of went into mainstream entertainment. The only cable network that stayed true really to its true niche was Food Network. That's probably the only one where they didn't sort of just go, oh, we got to do mainstream programming. But long story short, that going in that niche route, it was a gamble, and I think
man, whatever happened to the History Channel, man, with the aliens and all this weird
there's still
stuff.
Ancient Aliens is still like you get a healthy dose of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. And you want to know what you want to know what I want to know? Well, first off, I mean, obviously on History Channel, you have Pawn Stars, which I mean, I guess has history in it. They try to make it a history show, but then you have like probably the best show on History Channel right now is Alone, which is a reality TV show. Has absolutely nothing to do with history. There's no, it's very, very present.
Yeah,
that show. And you're absolutely right. Like we've just completely, like all the cable channels have completely lost their niche. I guess with streaming it doesn't matter, right? Because it's all going to go on Hulu, and Hulu had everything, so you might as well make whatever got a lot of views. So the niche, really, you kind of just lost your niche. But I think they're probably regretting that now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who's regretting a lot is Warner Brothers Discovery. I can't wait. Next week, I'm going to do this for you. I'm actually transcribed some of that investors meeting.
Oh, are you really? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's good because it's such a great case study in double speak, how to give good news when there's no good news to be given. I just want to say $33 billion in debt. I don't know how somebody still pays that CEO, David Zaslav. You imagine being like, well, sorry, I lost $33 billion. Like, oh, let's give you a pay raise.
He's the guy that came from Discovery when Discovery bought HBO, right?
Yeah, he came from Discovery. He's an old school Discovery guy. And he slashed and burned and cut. That's
a phenomenal story too. Discovery Channel, how they started. I think, was it David? Was David the guy?
David
Zaslav.
He
started it. Yeah, he
didn't
started
start Discovery. No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, it wasn't him.
He was the change agent that came in and slashed and burned and changed the programming.
The guy who started Discovery, basically, he just wanted a channel that was just documentaries. And so he called up the satellite companies, and the satellite companies were like, well, we need to fill space, so we'll give you a month free programming if you can fill it 24/7. And he's like, okay. And he did that, and that's how the channel got. It's like, what kind of world, back then, he just did that. Yeah, he just did it. Yep. He had no idea what he was doing. He wasn't an industry guy. He worked in the nonprofit sector. It's tremendous. And then they hacked Russian satellites, and because they needed 24/7 programming, so they hacked Russian satellites. And Johnny Carson thought it was so funny that the Discovery Channel was translating Russian television, he would play it as a bit. He would go, "Let's cut live," which actually you think is kind of like a Letterman bit if you think
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
a Letterman style bit.
Yeah,
totally.
but Carson did it. Yeah, Carson would cut live to the Discovery Channel and play them like translating Russian stuff, and that's how people learned about the Discovery Channel. It's amazing.
But isn't that also how they got caught hacking
then
in,
they were
right?
told
Yeah.
they weren't allowed to do that because remember this is like 80s Cold War.
Yeah, it's Wild
sort of
West.
Reagan
Wild
stuff.
West,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just tremendous story. All these now, I mean, like even like food. If you look at Food Network, just all how scrappy these organizations were. G4 TV, Food Network, they had one kitchen for every chef. Or they had one kitchen for all the chefs, and then they didn't have enough refrigerator space, so the kitchen always smelled. The whole studio always smelled like rotten meat every day because they just didn't have all the refrigerator space for all the food they needed to store. It's not unbelievable. Like people don't understand. People think you need hundreds of millions of dollars to start something now. You actually don't. You
That's
just
the
really
problem.
Need a
Yeah.
you
That's
need a
problem.
really dedicated group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. They're so bloated. One of the interesting takeaways on that investment call was he totally downplayed the movies because they own the Marvel franchise and all that. And he's like, look, the movies represent such a tiny sliver of
HBO? No. You mean DC?
Warner Brothers Discovery owns like Marvel, tons of different properties. And the point he was making is that our movies are so unreliable and it doesn't even really make a dent in a profitability. That so a lot of times we think, oh, this movie flop, Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be crushed. It's like the movies are like the smallest thing on their radar, which I thought was super interesting. Like
that is it. So
Yeah.
what's the big money is in series?
It's really in the streaming, the HBO revenue, HBO Max or whatever it decides its name is this week.
And in South Park, they're gonna. I'm telling you,
that's
they're
Paramount.
gonna.
Yeah, that's Paramount. Yeah.
No.
HBO
It's
has
Paramount and
stuff.
HBO.
Oh, you're saying because
Paramount doesn't want it, but HBO wants
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So hey, if you had to guess, if there was a bidding war on the streaming rights, if you had to just throw a number out, what do you think it would be?
What's it going to go for?
Yeah.
350 million. That's what I would guess.
Oh, I think it'd be in the billion. No, really? Maybe. That's a good.
No, I think billions because
You think so?
I think so because that's how they got like 900 million for the last deal.
Wait, is it future episodes or is it
Oh, that's a good question.
the library?
Oh,
What are
the
what are they
library.
getting?
Yeah,
that's a
right, 'cause
good
they're probably not
question.
going to do future episodes. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that'll be so fascinating. I just wish I could read the contract. That'd be so fun to read. All of that, and I wish the court. I went to trial. I wish it went to trial because then
you want the
You file a
public
FOIA
discovery.
request?
yeah, I just think it'd be fascinating just to see how Matt Stone and Trey Parker were smart enough to include even the ability to go to, they own the rights. So even the ability, as shady as it is, to go to HBO and go, hey, we can't give you the streaming rights, but we can do 40-minute episodes and we'll call them events. And like they were able to get another deal. Like it's insanely brilliant. In a Dr. Evil sort of way, but they did it.
Do you think they're working on a South Park the musical, or at least a Broadway? I feel like.
I hope so. That would be amazing. That would be
good.
amazing.
They did Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon was awesome.
And Stranger Things. Getting that right? Right? That's a play.
Yeah, Stranger Things is a musical. Yeah.
Have you seen it, Jason?
No.
Because we're gonna have to go to
heard
New
of
York.
this.
I heard it's really good. But yeah, I gotta look it up. Look it up. It's
Okay.
Bizarre.
All right, we got an answer to the we want to do a preview of another one of our shows, and I think Barely Biblical.
Oh, I know what this was the topic. This is the topic.
Okay.
It's where Christian cartoons go wrong or when they go right. I think that Jason, well, you guys are both experts on this subject, so I'm gonna try to be quiet here, but I will ask you both. Here's the question: where do they go wrong? Think of the things you grow up on, and where is the stuff on Lore TV? Because Lore TV is the only place where I see they're going right. Why did they go wrong, and how are they going right?
Why did what go wrong?
Like faith-based cartoons, Christian cartoons.
Oh, I can tell you that. I mean,
Yeah.
I worked on the inside, so I'll just give you the right answer.
Give me, yeah, I like it. Give me the right answer. Give me the right answer.
You know, so a lot of people say that the problem with faith-based entertainment is there's a lack of money. That's never been the case. Faith-based entertainment has always done well. One of the highest grossing films was Passion of the Christ ever. Like ever. That was Passion of the Christ. And then even like Fireproof made tons of money in the box office. God's Not Dead brought in $30 million, I think, in the box office on a $3 million budget. So the money's always been there. And I'll add, most importantly, especially for a lot of the theater distribution deals, they all worked with Sony. They worked with DreamWorks, Lionsgate, right? Like, so all of these Christian movies that come out are all distributed through the major players. So the money's there. What happened was two things. First, they wanted to sell the movie after the movie was out of the theater. So they realized that the only way they can do that was through Lifeway Christian bookstores or the Christian bookstore market. So the Christian bookstore market was targeted towards the 35-year-old housewife. Now, this is in like the 90s, right? So remember, pretty good demographic in the 90s. And then they never really changed that demographic. So the passionate Lifeway Christian bookstore shoppers grew older. So now 2010, they're in their 40s, 50s, getting up in 2020s. Now we're dealing with 60-year-olds. And stuff like close to that range and over that range of 60, 70-year-olds. And so they never found a new distribution mechanism. And of course, all the Christian bookstores went out of business, right? And so before COVID, they went out of business. And so that's number one, is they only targeted what they called, this is their name, it was the Bookstore Betty. That was their character profile. And so all media, whether it's music from K-Love, or books or movies, was all targeted for that Bookstore Betty woman. So the distribution, that's all you had. And then number two was they realized that instead of doing the hard work of making people actually want to go see the movie, they instead incentivized pastors to buy the tickets for the whole church. So on opening night. So it didn't matter if the theater was actually filled or how many of the people who went to watch the movie actually paid for the movie. All that got reported back was, this movie did really well in the box office. Look at how many people went to, how many tickets were sold. But how many tickets were sold didn't really matter, because the church was just buying the tickets and then just passing them out for free to anybody that wanted them. So there were people going to see the movie, and they would go and give them a free ticket that the church paid. So that kind of disrupts your economic model. And then you start to say, well, now we need to make movies not just for 35-year-old women, but now we just need to make movies for just the pastor. And when you do that, you have to make the cleanest, tamest, because the pastor's reputation is on the line if you go into a movie and there's something that offends the older ladies. So the church ladies, as we call them. So that was your two big problems, but it was never lack of money. It was just all created in a marketing room, at somewhere in Franklin, Tennessee. So just some marketing guys got together and said, how can we make these movies to this built-in audience? And there was never any desire to stray from that. And that's why all your cartoons and stuff are focused for preschooler as what I call background noise streaming, right? Where it's just on in the background, so you're entertaining your kids while the housewife cleans the house or whatever. but as far as like, well, what kind of cartoons do my teenagers want to watch? That was never ever, that didn't matter. And so this is why I think, like, when we talk about lore, like lore really is valuable, because we're trying to make, what do cartoons look like for college students, right? Like what does a conservative or faith-based version of Adult Swim look like, that's actually adult programming, but also not cheesy and lame?
Can I ask you, first of all, that is a genius analysis. Like, it's so good. It's such a good breakdown.
It's not just good.
No,
it's correct.
It's true. It's correct.
I want to make that. I want to emphasize this.
This
is firsthand experience. The guy that created the pastoral ticket system told me and Jason himself that lore is slaying the dragon he regrets he created. like that is absolutely the true fact. And so yeah, because he knew like, once he saw how everything was pastor driven, it was just destroying the Christian entertainment industry, and he regretted it. Was one of the things he regretted. And he doesn't work in the Christian film space anymore. I don't know what he does, but he's not in the entertainment. But he regretted it so much.
I want to ask you, so look at two things that we have right now. One is in development, which is the Charlie and Evie translations by Billy Jack Animates. And then we have an existing show, Barely Biblical, which has done really well, top funded program, it's on fire. What's interesting about that is, like, I'm curious from your take. I would say that Charlie and Evie translation probably wouldn't rock the boat too much with a book.
Yeah, I would. I would.
Well, let me finish the wait. Let me finish
Okay.
Because I know you have an answer for it, but like, so I would say is, or guess is that Charlie and Evie translation wouldn't bother the bookstore Betty as much as Barely Biblical would. They're on a spectrum together, and so I'm curious, like, how do you? Is the approach is like, let's not even worry about bookstore Betty, because anything that's just off.
Bookstore Betty isn't the target audience of the streaming platforms. It's right. The man.
Yeah.
So this is the way I think about it: is the model that was adopted, it disrupted the natural feedback loop by getting the pastor to buy a bunch of tickets using church tithe money. Right. So it disrupted the natural feedback loop by subsidizing things rather than looking for an audience. And what lore does is it shortens the feedback loop. Right. It doesn't just restore it. It shortens the feedback loop so that you can actually find an audience and then find out, do people actually like this quicker? Is this good? Are people loving this? Right.
Yeah.
So it's trying to undo what was done by, it's the same reason that great writers come out of stand-up, because stand-up comedy has such a short feedback loop. Immediately, was that joke funny? Because they laugh or they don't. Well, you've got to restore that feedback loop to be able to.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah. That's a super good analogy. What excites me about what lore is doing and how this is working is that there is no gatekeeper, there's no filter in between. And the other thing that got me excited is, like, I feel like there's this just huge audience that's been just waiting in the sidelines for this, and all of a sudden the floodgates are opening up. It's like, I mean, you see the engagement that people have at Barely Biblical, and also with Billy Jack's
last video for Charlie and Evie translation got 400,000 views. Last time I looked, I'm sure it's more.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, and it's like, that's the part that excites me, and I just don't see anybody else doing this. Almost don't want anybody to hear this podcast, because I don't want to give anybody any competition ideas.
They don't have the guts. I think lore provides a lot of those opportunities and that sort of thing. And then I'm really excited about just the ability to free filmmakers to be able to make stuff. And but Jason, do you want to introduce a song from our band?
I do, but should I tell you the answer to our
Yes,
trivia
do
question
that first.
That was so subtle, that little play right there.
Yeah, do that
Yeah,
I
first.
do.
Okay, so our question had to do with Japanese cartoons being licensed to American television. So you had Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Pokemon, huge shows, and Voltron, kind of the first really mega hit. And before that, you had Speed Racer, which was really a national phenomenon in 1967. But 5 years before Speed Racer, NBC licensed the first Japanese cartoon for American television, which was Astro Boy.
Oh yeah, I should.
I didn't write that down.
Oh, okay. I didn't mention that because I just assumed that you mentioned that in your narrative.
Can you watch that anywhere? Can you watch that anywhere?
I was just watching some old episodes of Astro Boy on YouTube, so I know you can.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it's streaming anywhere or anything, but they did make a movie, a reboot movie of it as well.
That's awesome. That's a good one. I guess that leaves 3 minutes for our band to just.
That does.
Yeah.
Leaves 3 minutes for the band.
Yeah. While I'm loading it up, Sean, give the plug for FolkLOOR TV to go to FolkLOOR TV.
Everybody go to FolkLOOR.tv. You can subscribe and help artists, but you can also just go on FolkLOOR TV and check out what we have. And if you find something you really like, you can buy gold loot, which is like Chuck E. Cheese tokens, but without the heartburn. And you can fund the projects that you like. This has been so cool because it stokes out the filmmakers. They actually make money, and we see stuff get made that no one else will make. So
yeah, it's entertainment built different. Yeah, don't just binge, build.
Yeah, I like that.
Into the streets where the shepherd's trumpets cry. Speed Racer's car used to fly so high. Voltron's lions roaring in the skies. Now they fade like whispers, waving goodbye. Bring the breath, bring the beat, bring the roar. Save the shows we all used to adore. Astro Boy with his heart so pure. Marching on, let's make it endure. Men's programming slipping
jazzy.
through the cracks.
It's jazzy.
Replaced by reruns and silent tracks. The world needs heroes with courage.
What's the theme they were going for this week?
What?
The theme was men's programming and anime.
The music theme.
The music was New Orleans brass marching band.
Wow.
Nice.
And that cleared with the music director of the show, huh?
It did, yeah. He was like, "We can do that."
Wow. Well, I sure hope we can get the rights to this track because I'd like to put it on our Christmas best of collection.
Yeah.
This is nice.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to FolkLOOR TV, the FolkLOOR Live podcast. Be sure to join us next week. And also, if you're watching this, let us know ideal times that you would like this show to air.
Oh, yeah.
About the best time to do that. So
Just don't say 2 a.m. Pacific time.
yeah, don't say 2 a.m. But but whatever time works for you, we want to find the ideal time to get together the biggest audience. And again, if you like the show, share it, tell your friends about it, and we'll see you all next week.